What's up, world? We are back for another episode of Wrapped. This month we take on October, which is fun, filled, packed with a lot of stuff. We're gonna get into it. Let's go. All right, as I said before, we are back for another Wrapped. My name is K Styles. We have MVP who's taking over for Aaron today. Yeah, you know MVP. He's been here before.
Yes.
In crowd family.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's start before we dive into the craziness that is October. How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Making moves throughout the world. Making content. Thinking about starting to stream.
Oh,
I've
nice.
been doing some research on that. So one of the things, I don't know if people pay attention to streaming, but like overlays, like deciding if I want the Discord, when you meet up with your friends and the voice chat, you can have it pop up while you're playing a game.
Yeah.
So I literally just researched about that like at 12 a.m. in the morning.
Oh,
because
gotcha.
I went through a rabbit hole. But then you also got I was going to try to be fancy with so sometimes people have like their face in a box and then they have a background and then they have a lot of graphics going on. But I noticed some people who are like pretty big time, they just have their face and then the game in the background. Yeah. Like they don't have any graphics, they don't have anything crazy, just the Discord overlay of their friends' voice chat, and that's it. So I'm thinking actually of going that way.
I mean, here's the thing. I think it's all about iteration, right? You start where you are, and as you go along, he's like, well, I want to add some more, and then you add it. And then, that's how we got to where we're at right now. Like, literally, we started off in your basement doing these things a long time ago, and now look where we're at. So, now we're in my basement, but it's all good. It's either way. We're still in the basement, but like, we're in a different place than where we were before, and that only came from doing it. So,
yeah. And so how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I feel like we have a lot of things going on at once, which is a good thing. The world is in a weird place.
The world.
Well,
the world is always.
The world is in a very weird place, but we're gonna get into that
majority of the
time. Shortly. But other than that, doing well. Can't complain.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Like health, like
of course, as you get older, you start getting signs of like you probably should like stop acting like you're in college still. So
start partying. Yeah,
and it start like I'm getting a lot of those signs now. But other than that, nothing to complain about. Every day above ground is a good day.
Yeah,
so,
this is true. We can start off. You want to start off with the scam? The DJ Envy or
no?
Or are we trying to?
Yo, so as a
slow roll into that,
as a fellow Virgo, I feel like there's a part of me that wants to be slightly protective of like DJ Envy. I like DJ Envy.
Okay,
I don't know him personally. But like I watched him grow, and I'm like, I see his Virgo energy, but that Cesar guy, and we're not talking about the Cesar that talks to dogs. We're talking about Cesar.
That's the Whisperer?
The Cesar Milan? It's a different person.
The dog whisperer?
Yeah, it's a different person.
Well, no, I know the dog whisperer. I didn't know his name was Cesar, though.
His name was Cesar, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, so, if you're not aware, the feds raided Cesar, arrested him on RICO charges, I think it was. And this is...
fraud.
A wire fraud, actually.
Yeah.
And... pretty much there was for the last couple of years both Cesar, I don't even know what his last name is, Cesar Pina, and DJ Envy have been doing seminars for like flipping houses and stuff like that. And it's funny because it seemed like a genuine good thing. And it seemed like something they were trying to do for the community. Well, at least that's how Envy positioned it.
Yeah.
But
because Cesar would even come on the show.
Yes.
And
but now everybody's separating themselves from Cesar and saying it's a Ponzi scheme.
Well, like, let's dive into the Ponzi scheme, right? So I heard that they were taking houses, right? And saying, hey, you can make a lot of money with this house. You get the house. And if you're listening, I'm pointing to different people.
Yeah. So
3 people get the same house.
Really? That's interesting. I don't think that's what I heard, but continue.
Yes. He was selling the house multiple houses, of course.
Right.
But he would
same
give
people.
3 or 4 people the same house and just show it to them at different times and say, hey, if you give me this certain amount of money, I can fix it up, and boom. And I'm like, the same house though? That is crazy. And then there was like rumblings of like, yo, the people didn't even really get to see inside the house and stuff like that.
Well,
it was just, hey, outside of here, here's the neighborhood, here's the house.
You know
Look
what?
at all the yard. Cool. You ready to invest?
The sad thing about that is that there are a lot of people that are doing legitimate real estate.
Yeah, flipping houses. It's a real thing.
Flipping houses is a thing. Like, it's just that with every industry, there's going to be somebody who's doing something unscrupulous. Like somebody who's going to do something that everybody else knows you shouldn't probably be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they've gotten caught up in that. And it's unfortunate for Envy because they're also in a weird transition place in Breakfast Club where Angela Lee's gone. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the future holds for them. Like, I don't know what the future holds for him. I mean, I think iHeart and their radio station have they started distancing themselves. Like, apparently they had deleted episodes from where Pena was
Cesar's
there.
On there,
on their YouTube. Mm-hmm. So the cleanup is happening. They're trying to clean it up right now for sure.
And the issue is, one, there are people. So there's a lawsuit out, right?
There's multiple.
But now people are adding iHeartRadio and Breakfast Club to the lawsuit because they're like, hey, well, he was on here promoting this stuff and y'all were supporting it, and now I'm out of money.
Somebody got to pay.
Somebody got to pay, and so it's like, at what point are they gonna? Because you say the whole thing about Angelique leaving, and then you got
she knew, it's like she knew something was coming.
Hey, and apparently,
yo, Angela, you did your thing. Sorry, that's messed up. I shouldn't be laughing. I
mean, but hey, it's just interesting that one, now there's a question of, hey, is DJ Envy gonna stay on the club, right? Because of all this. But then I'm intrigued how he's not involved as deeply as I feel like he should be.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, if I come to you with an idea and I'm like, hey, I want to involve you in this thing that I'm doing, and I know that I'm doing something messed up, which allegedly we don't know for sure. We just know people haven't gotten their money back. Okay. But if I'm doing something that is not necessarily above board, I'm not going to necessarily bring you in and everything. I'm like, hey, yo, listen, you're a reputable person. You have a business. We're going to rob these people here, right? Immediately, you're going to be like, no, that doesn't sound like something I want to do. Yeah. And so I think if you think about it that way, it's very easy to say, okay, well, there was some separation. The iHeart part where like people are including them makes sense because if you're doing a lawsuit like that and everybody's going after this guy, it's very easy to say, hey, well, look, you guys made it very accessible. Like, we know how many people listen to the radio on a regular basis. Exactly. How many people listen? Well, I don't listen to radio, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who do. There's a lot of people who watch their YouTubes and interviews. So that means that you've made what would be this Ponzi scheme very accessible to everybody. So I can understand there's some culpability or some expectation that they'll be responsible for part of this. But it's like going into slightly off topic, but like what's happening with Sam Bankman-Fried and that thing that I forgot the name of it. Something. Essentially, it was a Bitcoin thing thing that everybody had, and they had Steph Curry on it, a bunch of people. Theoretically, all the people who lost money could say, well, you guys,
Steph Curry and them could
be responsible.
Could be responsible for it, yeah. And I guess the question is, how much research are you supposed to do into something that you invest in?
But it looks legitimate, right? Unless most of these things that come up, they're not. If they felt funny, you wouldn't do it. If they felt like there was an issue, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. Did they look realistic? One of the things like it's like the Madoff one was he was like, I guarantee you returns, and that sounds like Cesar was doing some of the same thing. I guarantee you get this return. That's a red flag for me in any investing
word.
How can you guarantee? We can't guarantee shit.
Yeah, that guarantee word is.
We can't guarantee that like the world is not going to be invaded tomorrow by aliens. and we're all dead.
I can guarantee that.
You can't guarantee that.
I can guarantee the world will not be invaded by aliens
you
tomorrow.
You can't guarantee that.
Stamped by MVP.
I'm just saying. You can.
That's an easy one.
You can hope, but you can't guarantee.
Okay, I get it. But yeah, so I don't know what exactly everything is going to like happen with him.
I know how it's gonna pan out.
But
wish you the best of luck, my man. The one thing that I think is crazy is that a lot of people are using this opportunity to shit on him.
Well, there was a clip.
I mean, yeah, that was a bad clip.
And it was I think I'm one of those people where I'm like, you didn't believe what MVP was telling you.
No, you gotta deal with it.
And now I get to look at you and say, hey, I mean, I don't want to be the bigger guy at this point.
But then, do you do that on a podcast or on your platform, or?
Well, the conversation that to fill
give
y'all
it back in, yeah.
So NV had a conversation with somebody, like he was on their podcast or their interview or whatever, and he was telling them about the investment he was making with Cesar and the real estate and everything, and he spoke to a couple people about it in the first inception of it, and one of those people was Joe Budden, and he was telling the story, and he was like, yeah, I was telling Joe Budden, like, hey, man, this would be a good look, da-da-da-da-da. And he was saying that Joe Budden told him, hey, that sounds like you'll go to jail for that.
Yeah. He actually said specifically, this is a Ponzi scheme and you're going to go to jail.
And the way, if you can just hear the tone of voice that Envy used when he was talking in the interview, it came off like Joe didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, almost like he didn't believe in me. He's just a hater. That's the type of tone I got from that.
You know what's crazy? It's like I have my own issues with Joe Budden, but he was spot on. He was spot on because look at where we're at right now. Anyway, I mean, the one that I don't like, I respect the Joe Budden side of it, and even though I know they were roasting him on the podcast,
yeah,
and that's fine. But the one that I don't respect is Funk Flex. I don't actually, in general, I have zero respect for Funk Flex because Funk Flex has been. I personally, this is going off topic. I personally hold Funk Flex and a couple of people over at Hot 97 for personally killing New York hip hops.
Wow,
it's a big thing. But anybody who was around at that time know that they were the gatekeepers for a lot of stuff, and they started once the music kind of shifted a little bit, and they started including more Southern artists and more people from across around the world. They stopped messing with the New York sound at all, and that's why it just disappeared for a long time. And people will say, well, the music changed or whatever, but no, these guys literally would take money to, allegedly, to get records, and it just never did for the culture. And then listening to Funk Flex, like I have this argument in my group chat all the time. Listen to Funk Flex and how he talks. I'm like, yo, I'm tired of hearing it from you. So when he was going on Envy, I think it was more hate than anything else because Power 105 has completely decimated Hot 97. Decimated. Okay. Like all the stuff that they were doing, they did. So you're happy at their issues now, and that to me, that's you seem like you hate it. So
two parts to that. One, is he kind of like a negative person? Flex.
I don't know if he's. I wouldn't
like
necessarily.
When he's on his show doing what he's doing. Is he real like bashing on people?
And sometimes, but
sometimes.
Not all the time.
So it's not all the time.
Not all the time.
Okay.
It's when he has issues. I mean, we had issues with Jay-Z at one point. He had issues with so like when he has issues with people at that point, that's his. It's like salacious talk radio. It's just
okay, because that's what kind of leading to it, like the salacious talk. But if it's for people that he don't really bang with, understandable. But I didn't know if that was kind of like because I don't listen to him like that.
Yeah, that's
because he's like all the clips I get, he just be like yelling and stuff like that. But so I think that it's one of those situations where I don't know him, but I think it's one of those situations where it's like, hey, you've been up and you haven't been touched, and like I don't know if Envy's been touched by much. Like yeah, like the woman, like his wife thing happened.
Yeah, he had some controversy.
But that's like marriage stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the whole thing with like the Joe Buttons and the Drink Champs and Flex and all of them, they are businessmen, right? And I think they let it be known that they stand on business.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you see an Envy look like he ain't handling the business, people jump on that savagely like a hyena that just came across some fresh meat.
That went a different direction than I expected. But I can hear that, but except for the fact that they're using like that's just a weird thing. I mean, and I guess we're talking about it too, so we're in that media realm too, so I can't criticize the intent behind it. I just feel like or them using this as something to talk about because it's literally what we do.
Yeah.
We have multiple things that we just talk about what's up. My concern a lot of times with like people like Flex is like we don't hear about Flex. And granted, he may be doing stuff behind the scenes that are good. I don't know what he's doing. But when he came out and I was listening to this and I'm like, you just sound like a hater. Mm-hmm. And so I can't respect that. The Joe Budden one, I was laughing at because I'm like, they kind of roasted him, but it sounded like Joe Budden did what I normally do, which is like I say what I want to say and I stand by what I have to say. And 9 times out of 10, people come back and like, I get what you were saying. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like happened here. It's like, unfortunately, there's like legal cases connected to it. Yeah. My things are generally a little simple. Like, maybe you shouldn't do this thing here and explain it. But like, if jail time's included, I think that's a different thing. I don't have those level of powers.
And there's a couple jabs and like, hooks that have been thrown at Joe Budden about his business. The way he handled business.
I still think he doesn't do it well, but that's not, I mean, this is all allegedly because we don't know the books. We just hear what people happen and we see what happened with people around him. But
yeah, because I mean, it's kind of hard to say allegedly when you got people doing interviews who he's taking money from saying, hey, I want my money back. Well, it's like, no, they allegedly want their money back. Like, no, they're on camera saying they want their money back.
The thing about it, though, is that in some story, if you spend any time doing anything for any amount of time, you're the bad guy in somebody's story. It doesn't matter what you did.
Okay, yeah.
Now, if the stories are repetitive, then there's some validity to it, right? But at the same time, somebody's always going to feel wronged when you do when you're doing business with them, because that's just how it goes. People change.
I just wonder what happened to make it like right now, because I feel like he's been doing this for some years at this point.
Who, Pena?
Cesar. I wonder like why now that everything's coming out like, I mean, haven't y'all been investing for a while now, or was it just?
You know what I think happened? I think there's a couple things. I think he was doing this for a while. I think they started in 2016 or something like that. Somewhere, I don't quote me on the date. And then COVID slowed everything up. So I think he could have kept going if he was building and refurbishing everything, but the price of everything is up. Mm-hmm. So the building, construction in general has slowed down. So now it's like, well, where's the money coming in to fulfill the other things that we have to do? Is my uneducated, opinion on that. And I feel like that slowed it up. And then I'm wondering, like some of these people probably took like money during that time, like the whole PPP loan joints, and like it's time to pay back some of that stuff. So you're like,
PPP loan was like,
it was crazy, right? But I mean,
thing.
And so I'm wondering if all of those, like all your chickens have come home to roost, and it's like it happened all of the time where environmental pressures are what caused it versus like, I'm just stealing money, right? So that is my uneducated assumption as to why now, because it's like everybody, we're back open now, and where all the stuff that was happening, right? So that is my assumption. But anything else on this before we move on? I feel like
because I don't really want to speak on his stuff because it's allegations as far as envy goes. Because I don't know. I've never heard of this Cesar guy until just now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. Just like from appearance though, he looked like a bum. But apparently,
damn son, why you said it?
I look
like a bum.
He looked like a bum to me, and I'm like, for a guy who's supposed to be. But maybe he just doesn't look well put together.
Well, here's the thing. What was that?
But you trust him.
But because you.
I don't trust people that don't look put together.
But what is?
But from a business standpoint, like you can't, like for example, if you're someone who says, "Hey, I'm gonna be a fitness trainer," and you're fat,
okay,
I can't trust you to be my fitness trainer, even if you know your stuff.
But if you're a real estate person, and
you don't look like business,
but you remember the market and the people he was. Jesus Christ. The market and the people he was catering to, they look like us. They dress like us. So if you have somebody come in with a suit, then it's a different conversation. Like, oh, you're a little less likely to trust that person. So it is an interesting thing. I mean, you don't see envy in suits unless it's a wedding or something like that. So
he didn't look like a bum, though.
He doesn't.
Like,
I agree.
I'm sorry, bro. I look at the fashion and stuff. Even the way your wrinkles are showing up in your shirt shows me
check my shirt real quick. Look.
What type of person you are, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw, and mind you, I've never seen this person before. Cesar, I've never seen him before.
Okay. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
So when I saw him in different things, because it's just a flash of like him standing next to
Envy.
Big Mike.
Oh yeah.
Him being on the Breakfast Club. I've just seen flashes of him all in one go.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a bum.
But think about it this way.
I'm like in every situation.
But think about this. You know, he's mostly teed up, you know, jeans.
Hoodies.
But think about it this way. If we're doing real estate business, right? And this dude pulls up and he's in a Wraith. And he pulls up in a Wraith and he takes you to the house. And his house is freaking $5 million house, $10 million house. Oh, dog, he's doing it. Then he takes you to the block where he's like, yo, I own that house. I own that house. I own that house. I own that house. His looks now are secondary to the fact that he's done something that you want to do.
And I did hear that he was like showing off motorcycles and cars and all this stuff in the midst of getting people to like invest.
Of course.
So I understand that part.
Of course. So that's your resume. So it's like, I said, like, in any other such circumstance, like, you know, use the Bernie Madoff thing. Bernie Madoff was in suits all day long. But that's like, the people that he was catering to would expect somebody like that to be in a suit, right? Versus like, the Cesar, it would be more likely to look like, oh, well, the hip hop crowd, like da-da-da. So that's
all I would say, bro, is just brush your hair, bro. Like,
damn, son.
It's not, I'm not trying to say he has to be the most fantastic, well put together, but I'm like, bro, it looks like you ain't brushed your hair. And you're supposed to be, I don't care about the Wraith if you don't, like, simple things.
But it's a Wraith,
like brushing your hair.
It's a Wraith, though.
It's a red flag. That's what it is.
It is but think about it. Once again, you're talking to people who, you know, hip hop culture has always been very raw. It is flashy, but the flashiness is normally chains, cars, stuff like that. You pull up with any of that stuff and say, yo, I own 7 blocks in New Jersey. To somebody who wants to invest, you sound like a thing. It's like, to use a music example, if somebody had 3 Grammys and they said, hey, I want to work with you, versus someone who has none, the person, if you had to choose between the two of them, you're going to be like, hey, the guy with the Grammys.
The guy with the Grammys, right.
Doesn't matter what he looks like, he has a Grammy.
So I guess maybe that's because my upbringing, I've been taught like, hey, if you're taking out the trash, be presentable. And the trash is right next to your house.
Understandable.
So it's hard for me. So like, yes, for those people who don't care if the person who's presenting you with the deal doesn't look presentable, that's on y'all. But I'm like, but you don't treat your food like that. You ain't gonna eat no food that looks like it's gonna make you throw up.
Some people will.
Well, some people will. And those people might have to sue later because they have food poisoning.
Well, this took a turn. This is not even the craziest story today.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it going then.
Jesus.
What level are we taking it to now?
I'm gonna just walk away from this for a little bit, and then we'll try to sandwich the crazy things with the regular. So, apparently, Drake tied Michael Jackson with the #1 hits. What are your feelings on that? I mean, yeah, let me know.
Well, I would say let's give him his props. That's a win.
Okay.
That is a win.
However,
and I'm not even gonna put my feelings into it. I'm gonna be like what I heard. The streets are talking, right? And the streets are basically saying like the way Michael Jackson sold albums and songs, it's not the way anybody sells albums and songs today. So they're basically saying, hey, it means more back then because people had to actually go and buy these albums. People had to actually go and get these songs. They actually had to go to the concerts to like listen to the person, right? Like you can't just get it from Spotify. You can't just get it from YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's 2 parts. I'm like, okay.
This guy, 2-part MVP. That's his new name.
2 Chainz?
No, 2-part MVP.
Okay.
2-part. MVP 2-part.
So I'm like, okay. Because I think I try to think on both angles. I'm like, okay, well, you could say it's harder to sell now because people don't really listen to music like they used to, and their attention spans are shorter.
Yes.
So for Drake to do that, I think that's a W. I also, the second part is, hey, it still was more legwork that had to go in, I feel like, back in the day to sell an album. There was so much going on just to sell it. Now you can just like cook it up in the kitchen and just push a button and it's distributed like across whatever is distributed. And you don't really need, I mean, obviously you have a bigger advantage if you have a machine behind you, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really need a machine nowadays to get things pushing. But so that's my original thought. I feel like you have some qualms with this.
Well, it's always gonna be a thing, right? And we're gonna start. I'm gonna start my opinion based on the fact that I know that it's completely intertwined with nostalgia. Ain't nobody could beat Mike, bro. Ain't nobody could beat Mike, bro. I mean, and if you really want to talk about certain people, it's like that time period. You know, you have like the Prince of the world, but even Prince wasn't putting up numbers like Mike. And even his music and everything was his, and he did what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. He was a bad man. That man, Prince.
Bad
Mama Jamma. But yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
But my MJ was a different person. Like if you would see crowds of people, oh my God, would line up when they had to have military escort from this man in certain countries to get him to his hotel.
Bro, Michael Jackson, and this is why I'm like, y'all can't say nothing to me about Michael Jackson. He had grown men fainting and crying. I was like, I don't think I've seen anybody faint in a long time, like at a concert or something like that. But every time he would have grown men and women fainting. So yeah, you might be able to hit the number one, but the core, the soul, the heart, you're not hitting like Michael Jackson. And that's it. That's
my issue too is more with Billboard and like all of these old systems that we use to track music. That's the same as when Elvis was alive. Like they haven't done a better job of that, and it is what it is. And then the streams is like, it's just such a weird fragmented business that's like half digitized and half not. And so
I'm about to call an audible.
What's that?
Because you just said something, and it made me feel some type of way in my heart.
What?
You said, hey, the way like the digital and and the Billboard and the way they measure things, I'm gonna say one word. No, two. Actually, I'll say two words.
Always two.
Always two, right? Carisha, please.
Oh man.
And I know we moving ahead too a little bit quickly.
Yeah.
But I think that situation, which we'll get to, I'm just saying, like, when you said what you just said, made me think about that. So go ahead.
But why?
Because the way we're measuring success is different.
Well, access is different, right? Like, for example, back in the day, to see Michael Jackson, you had to go to a concert. You had to, you sometimes you're watching TV. Yeah, you're watching a concert, but it's like that night of, like something happening. So the access to people is very hard back then. So you created this superstardom. Like when you saw them, you had to. That's really what the impact is. Like if you see Drake, if I see Drake today, I'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my God, stop the presses! Oh my God, it's Drake! I can't believe it's Drake!" I'd
be like, "Yo, what's up, bro?"
So I think that's a thing. And then to the Carisha Please part, I'm like, I actually heard her rebuttal on the Breakfast Club about that. Oh. And she was like, well, you're just saying everybody else is doing the exact same thing. I want to do something different. So
first, let's merge those two topics.
Right? Yeah, they're the same. They're the same thing.
Let's put out what happened with her. Right, she won the
best podcasts for the or something like that. Like,
second year in a row.
Yeah,
and so, is this at BT?
Yeah,
BT Awards. So, okay, that happened, right? She won the award for a second time. with all the other people that's in the space, right? And so I just went and did some research just to see how often she's dropping. Which me having a podcast, us having a podcast, I'm like, I think about like consistency and stuff like that, right? So if y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but she don't drop like that, right? But when she do drop, I do see like millions of views. But she's also dropping under let's call it a machine, right?
Yeah.
Revolt. So I'm like, you don't consistently drop over the past 2 years. In the first year, you were new. You wasn't even like how I'm trying to understand if we're just saying from a fair standpoint of like matching what people are doing. I'm trying to understand how you get best, unless people just like you more. Like you, like did you? And you know, I feel like this is like taboo to say, but like, did you pay for votes? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
honestly, but then think about it. The way that she's running her episodes, it's like a TV show. It's like you're watching a season of Power, right? You get 10 episodes a season. Mm-hmm. I mean, even this is less because she has 10 episodes total. Who? Carisha.
Who does she? Is this an interview style?
It's interview style, right? But if you look at her list of people, from the first one, she had Diddy, then Kevin Gates. Of course it counts. JT, Saucy Santana, Meg Thee Stallion, Sweetie, Lotto, G Herbo, Trina, Black China, Summer Walker. Like all these people are active.
Active
right? Well, for the most part. I mean, you know, like I don't know how much musicians. Trina's doing right now, but like all of these people are active, at least on social media. So, and I think she's using the scarcity model where everybody's using the abundance model. So
it may be. I'll give some build. Maybe it's I'm not around the right people because I hear about Nori stuff. I hear about Breakfast Club stuff. I hear about Joe Budden stuff. I hear about Joe Rogan stuff. I hear about all these people. I don't really hear about her episodes.
But I think that's the scarcity mindset. It's like it goes back to what we said before with Michael Jackson and the availability. It's like you can't see Michael Jackson like that. You can't see him on TikTok doing a dance. You got to go see him in the show. You know, so I think that it's an old
that
school.
Was a little bit of a jab right there.
What?
You can't see Michael Jackson on TikTok doing the dance. What are you talking about?
But I mean, he's a king of dance. He's a king, and that wasn't you took that somewhere else. He's a king of pop, bro. He changed dance. Forever, right? And
Drake did not.
No.
He didn't have that
no, Drake no.
That slide thing he was doing.
Drake did not change.
He didn't change the world with that one.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Nobody was expecting. Maybe the Hotline Bling dance. No. He didn't change the world with that one. Okay, all right. But it is what it is.
Compared to the moonwalk.
Yeah, I know.
The
spinning.
Come on, bro. Like, what are we talking
people
about?
That's not even spinning the block.
That's not even dancing. But we've seen how many people have been birthed from like Michael Jackson's dance style.
Yeah,
and that so that's a whole different conversation. But going back to Carisha, please.
Yeah,
I feel like they're trying something different with this. They're doing the scarcity model.
Oh, that's the different part.
That's the different part. So I'm saying, that's a comparison. Yeah, we went off on a tangent. Wow,
it's the same stuff, right?
I mean, she's doing the podcast. She's doing it this show. She's doing it as a show, but she's doing it like a show. And I don't even feel like they promote it a lot.
She has a live audience.
I think she does.
I think she has a live audience,
which also means she's making money on the show itself. So I think it's just she's doing what other people do, but in reverse. Because normally people build up their podcast, then they go on tour, they get live stuff, all of that. So for her, if she's doing, I don't know if they're all live, but even if she's not, if she's doing it like that, it's a different approach. And then looking at her release schedule, she might be shooting like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year.
That's impressive.
I think more than anything else,
like to get that off is what I mean. Yeah, that's impressive to get that off.
In this time and age where we literally have everybody dropping everything, like we had to dial back ours because we were trying to drop every weekend. That's like we don't have the team for that. It's like it's like 5 of us, right?
You get burned out with that.
But she has the resources of a whole television station and one of hip hop's richest men. So I get it, and people can be upset because I do feel like Nori has a lot more hard hitting conversations because he's talking to so many people. Yeah. But like Aaron, I remember Aaron has said consistently like Nori's audio quality is terrible, and it's the truth. It's harder to listen to, right? Which is it's
There's a lot going on in those episodes.
You have Joe Budden. I think their quality is supreme. I think from our end, like from the urban,
Okay.
they are top notch. I don't think anybody right now is higher than them other than like Breakfast Club, but then Breakfast Club is a radio station.
It's a radio
so that's
station,
different.
so
You know, there's so many podcasts we can mention, like the Talent Quality, Wallow and $1 Million Game.
Yeah, so.
Even that, but like from a production quality though, every time I've seen one of the Carisha P's, it is good, bro.
So like
it's I mean, down to the setting. I mean, and she could be shooting at Diddy's house. It don't matter. Down to the setting, the background, the cameras. Yeah, like everything about it is, you know what it feels like? It feels like, you know, like they're really putting a lot into giving you like a steak. When everybody
like a food
like
that
a
you
steak.
eat? A steak?
Like
Okay.
a steak. When, you know, everybody else is just giving you like food, but not like a prime cut of steak. Even though I don't watch it. I'm not gonna say I watch it all the time. I've not consumed all her episodes, but like, it looks good, bro. It looks good. It sounds good. The vibe is right. The guests match the people that are popping in this time. Like, she got a Kevin Gates interview. Like, Kevin Gates interviews is like getting a Andre 3000 feature. It's like,
hold on, because that dude got one.
Who?
That guy you don't really, you know, care for. He got a Kevin
Which
Gates.
one? Oh.
He got a Kevin Gates interview.
Yeah, but it's still like, you know, everybody don't get Andre 3000 verses, but
this is true.
Some people get them and some people shouldn't have gotten them.
Ooh, I was like, because I'm about to say, you gonna give him props for getting the Kevin Gates, or you gonna say what you just said?
No, say what I just said.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
But okay, so what I'm saying about her is, hey, she can do whatever she do.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it's working.
It's working and stuff like that. But to go back to the Michael Jackson and Drake thing, there's a different level of access, right?
Yeah.
That you're saying. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if anyone else has come close, right?
I mean,
besides
I'm sure.
Drake.
I guess.
You know?
I mean,
like,
honestly, it's one of those things where, like, this is a metric that no one really treks for on a regular basis unless you're the person breaking it. So then you're like, does it really
matter?
Does it matter?
And the Billboard's, what do you call it? Like, clout or whatever you want to call it, is not the same as it used to be. People are like, oh, Billboards, who cares? Because of, you know, it's how they judge things and how they put things out.
I'm gonna throw this. It's not the accurate number, but it's like 300,000 streams to count as one thing on Billboard or something ridiculous. So like the numbers, like you have to stream so much before it counts as a listen on Billboard. And I'm just like, I get that there's a difference. It's not 1-to-1 because before physical sales required you to actually sell. There's a marketing project. You have to print up a bunch of stuff. You have to do it right. So, but right now, it's just like. As I said, going back to the digital analog thing, we haven't moved really far in there, and that's why you see the music industry struggling like it is right now.
Okay.
So finally, I'd say I don't know if anyone cares about the number ones as much because also like the last album he put out was not great.
And he's gonna do good. He's regardless.
Still gonna do numbers. It's a Drake effect.
So that's kind of where I wanted to lead with the Carisha thing. I'm like, at what point is it like, well, you're so big that whatever you do doesn't really matter to us because of how big, like you like yes, you have like Carisha, right? She has the show looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and da 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 da. But have you really put in the work from are your peers seeing you like this, right? Like, does your peers see you as this top-notch platform person, or is it because of the support you have, right? And I'm like, as an audience, do we care, right? Do we care if, hey, Drake is that guy, so even though he puts out a mediocre album, should we be like, but he's like, it's Drake, so we're not going to like judge him for that, right? At what point do we make like, hey, yes, keep giving us good content, right? Keep giving us good content. But if the content is not where it's at and you get an award for it, should we say something?
I mean, but the truth is, the music business, the movie business, everything has always had these awards that we don't necessarily agree with as the people who are there. Even Rotten Tomatoes.
They've been thinking some things are rotten, and everybody was like, "Yo, that movie was fire."
Right. So it's really all that stuff. It makes sense to the group that we're in, and a lot of times the people making the determination of what is good and what's not. It's not us, right? So, and I was trying to look at her last episode, which I don't see here, which is interesting.
I think the last one was with China. I want to say.
Oh, so is the one with Summer Walker not released yet? No, it was posted on June 9. This season 1, episode 10.
What?
The one thing,
Summer Walker?
The one with Summer Walker.
Oh, okay.
So the fun thing is, the interesting thing about it, just looking through it, they rarely release this like a TV show. So it's on Apple Plus, it's on Revolt TV, it's on like YouTube. So that's also the difference, right? So like, as much as it may not look like it's that being released that often, it's also being released in more places than regular other podcasts.
Standard podcast. Okay.
Like Joe Budden's not on Apple TV, to my knowledge.
Yeah, who knows?
So,
but I mean, and I do see that and this is what I'm saying. I'm not bashing her or anything. I just want to start people's train of thought and see where people's head is at, right? Because obviously there are people in the masses who are like, "Yo, how the hell did she win this?" And I'm like, "Well, what's the train of thought of this, right? Like, why do people feel this way?" So, it's just interesting to me.
Also, numbers don't lie. That's what I'm trying to look at it. Like,
yeah, she's getting like 2 million.
Her numbers. I'm trying to look at it. And it's good for Revolt, but her numbers are like 5-6 million every time. So, how can you argue with that?
Yep.
How can you argue with that? Anyway, so moving along, that went a little deeper than we should have also. But moving along to
what we got.
Oh, Jesus.
Something spicy or we working with?
So I'm going to preface this by saying I feel like there's a general consensus where everybody has gotten to the point where we're tired of hearing about this. We're tired of hearing about all the stories. We're tired. I understand that there's like selfish motivations, but we're tired. If you're not aware what I'm talking about, I'm referring to Jada Pinkett Smith and all the stuff that she has been saying on the internet. And I was joking in my group chat, and I was like, this has to be coined as like social media abuse. Because we are being accosted on a regular basis by information about her life that no one has asked for.
Nobody.
No, like I have not spoken to anyone and be like, you go girl, Jada. Except for the people who are like, oh yeah, look, she's getting Will back for all the stuff that he did. And I'm like, we don't even know what he did. We don't know
what he did.
We have no idea. And maybe, you know what? If I am wrong and I am an unfair male and you feel that way, let us know in the comments. Because maybe as to our experience with what we just talked about with Carisha Please, maybe there is a group of people that are following everything that happened and they really want to hear this from Jada. I just don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to hear anything else.
I mean, I've heard from multiple people they don't want to hear anything else either.
It's funny. You've seen the Facebook, like when there's a the natural disaster or something like that. Mm-hmm. Facebook does this thing. It says marked safe from this disaster. One of my homeboys sent me, he's like, marked safe from Jada's note updates. I was like, we're not safe. Because just when we thought we were done, she keeps pulling us back in. And it's like, I get she's selling a book. I get it, right? I completely understand. And somebody said it's like literally a journalistic flaw to keep interviewing this woman. Because why are we hearing all this stuff about Pac? And then all this stuff is like, it's a weird thing because I don't know how I would feel. And I think I'm pretty secure in who I am and as a man.
Okay.
I don't know how I would feel if my wife is out there selling this idea of like her soulmate being this dead guy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, and then I know people, I'm always the person to call and say that, you know, somebody's going to say, oh, we're being misogynistic or whatever. Mm-hmm. But because they're like, why can't she share her feelings and da-da-da-da.
Okay. I
have no problem with her having the feelings. I have a problem with her on the internet. The same way how people have a problem with people with OnlyFans on the internet. Mm-hmm. I just have a problem seeing, like, I don't want to see it all the time. Like, I actually slowed down maybe it was a blessing and a curse. I slowed down my social media usage just so I don't see every clip about her. But I've spoken for a long time. What is your thoughts on this?
So I want to give a little bit of background. She said in the interview where she was promoting her book that her and Will Smith have been separated.
But I think we knew this.
Well, last time Chris Rock got smacked, Will Smith said
they haven't got divorced, so they're still married. You could be separated and still married.
Well, apparently Jada was confused that he called her his wife. So, and this is what I'm saying. It's not just about her talking about, her relationship. It's the way she manipulates words, right? Like, so taking it back to the Red Table Talk, and he was like, yeah, so you was messing with August. And she was like, no, I had entanglement. He's like, bro, you had an entanglement? No, you was messing with... That's a person who would piss me off because you're trying to play with me. I think, let's see how many episodes I talk about people playing with people, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm okay with hearing you out and being understanding. But once you start playing with me with like semantic words, like, oh, it was an entanglement, or oh, we've been separated, so I don't know why he called me his wife. But yet when we see y'all together, y'all always acting like y'all together.
Well, I think there's a couple of things here. And actually, I want to stick to the script because this one could go long and I don't want it to.
Okay.
I think that the Jada and Will thing is caused, I said this in our production meeting, is caused by the space and the place that we've put them as this power couple, like this black power couple. And I think the pressures of that, whether they be true or not, have forced them into a place where even though I feel like they probably should have separated, they should have probably divorced, they don't want to. That is my assumption. I feel like they've been put into a place where they feel like they have to stick it out. And, granted, that might be, it may be because of something else, right? Like, it may be like they just don't believe in divorce, so they don't want to do that, right?
Well, I was going to say, Will Smith has said that he doesn't believe in divorce.
Well, this is the second one if he had one.
Yeah, and so like, and this is way before all this. This is way before Jada started saying what she was saying. But like, Will was like, "Yo," it was something simple of like, "Hey, when you talk to me in front of the kids, we need to talk a certain type of way." Like, he pulled her to the side and like they had a conversation in the room away from the kids, and it was leading up to like, "Hey, I don't believe in divorce, so like I'd rather do what we got to do to make things work out." That's what I heard from Will. So,
and that's probably what's adding so much into this. But I think that there's a lot of pressure to be this couple. Like, when we talk about like black love or black relationships, it's normally those things. We talk about Barack and Michelle, Will and Jada. I guess if we put Jay-Z and Beyonce in that category too. If you're going really like Waka and Tammy, it's like, we put all these people, and the thing is that they're human beings. They're in relationships. They have, what I'm saying? Like, they're all in places where like things change and it's maybe not going to always work out the way that we expect. And that's fine. But
I guess my thing is, nobody's like, hey, I wonder what's going on with Will and Jada's relationship right now. Like, nobody's checking for that, I feel like.
Their names are strong enough that they can make something happen. I mean, she got after Red Table Talk disappeared.
Facebook is pretty much done with podcasting.
That's what I'm saying. So like, but then there was nothing else that was happening. Like, we didn't hear anything from that side. Will still recovering from the slap. So
I guess my thing is, could you bring something else to the table, right? Could you bring something else besides our relationship issues? Like you're writing this book, but then, to be honest with you, nobody really even. The only reason why we know is because we doing research and stuff as we talk about stuff. But people didn't know there was a book. All they heard was that Will Smith and her have been separated for years.
Well, I think that's
what I heard.
the thing about it is, this is her time to live. I would say her truth, right? Her time to, I don't know, it sounds like I'm giving her bail after being, accosted for weeks. But it's a time for her to say what she was dealing with and all of that stuff. And I understand. I get that part. I just, unfortunately, and it's probably more the social media than her, but I'm tired of all the stories.
And
I don't, and then even the Pac stuff too. I'm like, I don't want to
let the man rest in peace.
And then the sad part is like, why didn't say any of this stuff when he was alive, right? And granted, the forums weren't available, right? Like you can't. There was no internet like this. So, but it's like we're talking about Pac and how all this stuff all the stuff that happened. I'm just like, but why now?
And did you hear that? For like gossipy, did you hear the tea that Chris Rock tried to talk to Jada when he found out they were separated?
That's probably why he got slapped.
So that's why you got smacked, bro. I'm like, if y'all, because apparently they're supposed to be like friend group friends, right? And as soon as you find out that my wife is separated from me, and apparently, based on the fact that we just now hear, like it's just now official, probably the inner workings of the groups knew what was going on. But outside of that, nobody knew. And it's like, bro, you took that time to go smack at my wife, no pun intended. And so Will might now I'm starting. Okay, Will might have had.
We're starting to peel the layers back and see exactly what caused that night.
So you know what, Jada, keep doing what you keep giving us the tea.
I guess
keep giving us the tea because
we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know, right? And Will's, but that's like. But the way she reacts is like, I don't know why he would smack him. I thought it was a skit. I'm like,
well, I think that there's
come
also
on, yo.
We're in a space now too where people need to distance themselves from things that there's outrage. Because I remember when that happened and somebody was like, "Oh, look at Will Smith. He's an idiot." And I'm like, first of all, I understand where he's coming from because if you put my girl's name in your mouth, I may come see you. I might not do it on top. You understand? Like I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it on the stage, right? But we would have a conversation.
I don't know.
It depends on how egregious it is. It just may be a thing. And then I think that one thing that we talked about, I think at one point, is like this pressure that we have as Black people, but then on top of it, as Black men, to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I had the same conversation with another friend about the same pressures for Black women, and their pressures are even worse because they have to be perfect and perfect, right? Like there's a whole nother thing, right? But in the case of Will Smith, he did everything right until that slap, and everything after that, he's ostracized.
He's a goon. He's a thug.
I'm like, the dude from Philly. He's not built like that. He's not Meek Mill, right? But like,
and the one thing I disliked about that was that as soon as this happened, they were like, "See, now he's showing his true colors. He's not this
after
good
years.
guy." I'm like, yo. One act of aggression does not mean that's your true colors. I would think everything you've done up until then and after would be your true colors, but it's like, no, it was just a mirage. But that one moment, that's really who he is at the core. And I'm like, I dislike when people do that.
It's exhausting. It's super exhausting. But yeah, I guess we could kind of slow that down. I don't know if there's much else to add. I just
she's coming out with a book, y'all. So go get the book.
We don't even know what's the name of the book.
I don't care. And then I think Will Smith is coming out with a book too.
I think they're coming with a book together.
Yes. So
I mean, we need to. Maybe, you know what? Maybe Will and Jada are now Krishan Rock
and
Blueface.
Like hey,
because they're just a higher A-level celebrity. Because it's like it seems very toxic.
The relationship is over. Let's just get our coins. Let's get our monies. Hey, let's.
But it doesn't sound like it's over because I saw her. She was doing an interview with I think Jay Shetty, and she was like, I guess he read an email that he sent to her, and he was like, "This is why I can't divorce this Joker." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like this is where you put like to be continued.
Yeah, like we have to follow
there's
up
going to be more coming from. Well, the book hasn't come out yet, right? Like, I don't think it came out yet. I don't
even remember hearing a name.
So,
either way.
Once those books drop, there'll probably be more like, salacious stuff that she's like revealing or whatever. So
couple more topics. We have went all the way in today on some of these things.
Okay. What we got?
So this one,
No, I feel like I know who you're about to talk about.
it's such a complicated issue, and I don't want to ever jump in and say I know enough about this to choose a side.
We're just reporting the news out here.
We are literally just talking about it, and I know it's gonna ruffle some feathers because people feel away, but the whole war in Gaza.
Ooh.
Is that what you think? You didn't think I was gonna go there?
Nah. When you said complicated, I was like,
it's complicated.
This ain't what I thought you was about to say. Yeah,
it's complicated, and I say why it's complicated. It's because we don't necessarily all know the history, and even if you will do some research, you haven't lived that history.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people's like, well, somebody had posted, "Hey, black people, just sit this one out," because it's like we don't know. But
let's make it brief.
I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why people would feel enraged about it because it feels like, incredible atrocities were committed, right?
Yeah.
What Hamas did to, in Israel was ridiculous. Like that should never have happened. But what is happening in Gaza now feels like way more extreme than it should. But I understand that other people are going to feel like, well, they did this, and this is what we've been dealing with for a long time. This is just the most recent of many attacks.
Mm.
So, but I have a problem when you're killing like women and kids. And that goes on both sides.
Yeah.
It goes on both sides. I have a problem when women and kids, I mean men too, because we always like assume that like men are not included in it. And I think it's from our side, there's a protection thing that women and kids are generally like kids, women, like that's we gotta protect them, right?
Women and kids.
Men
first.
are gonna die, right? But
hey, people might not like that.
That's
what it is.
That's
right?
how societies have been.
Like now, there are women who can throw them hands. Let's not get it twisted. But generally speaking, you want the woman to to protect the kids and stuff like that, as the man protects
everybody.
them.
And the thing is, it's never. I think one of the biggest issues with that is that the idea is that women are like unable to protect themselves. That's not the case.
No, that's not the case.
It's more like there's a natural drive to protect them. Either way,
and this could be. I just want
going off topic.
Some people to understand this could be a guy thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like men typically want to feel like they're protecting their family, so automatically it's like, hey, men, we're gonna have to get into it. But the women and children, you need to, you crossing some lines once you start doing that.
And then some of the things that, being reported, we have to be very conscious that some of this stuff is we're getting mixed stories, right? Like we're not going to get the real stuff out of there. It's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening that we probably, don't really get the real from, but we see certain things. But in general, it's hard to say that one side is right and one side is wrong in the large debate of what is happening in that area. I just feel like if you're killing all these people just to get to one group, that feels messed up.
Yeah.
But then as Americans, we can't really say shit either, because when we were out there looking for Al Qaeda, there were a lot of people that were getting killed that were regular people. So that's why when we started this, I'm like, the world's in a really weird place. It's like, how do you do this?
Because when that came up, right? When it came up, I was like, hold on, ain't there a whole nother war going on? Still going on? And so I checked and I'm like, Russia
Ukraine.
And I don't know if it's at the forefront of the topics nowadays, but
it's still
that's still going on. There's still people dying over there. And so I'm like, I understand what you're saying, where it's complicated and the world is in a crazy place. And so one thing I want to say about people in America is to be blessed and accept your blessings, because in certain parts of the world it's going crazy. It's always going crazy. But it really don't hit us like that. We worrying about hey, the job market ain't that great right now in society.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you're not worried about a bomb waking you up in the middle of the night. Yeah,
because the way it sounded, it seemed like it was a surprise attack.
Yeah,
So
which there's so many questions about that. Which, as I said, I don't feel qualified to have that
yeah,
conversation unless there's other people
yeah,
here
definitely,
around
definitely.
that know the specifics. Because I could listen to the podcast, I could read a book, but I don't live it, right?
Right.
And I just know, like, I know for us, it seems like I've had conversations with people where they're like, yeah, I completely identify with everything that's happened to the Palestinians. And the other people who's like, what happened in Israel was ridiculous. I completely get. And so it creates this space where you have to choose a side. And that's one of the things that I hate about the time that we have right now. It's like, I can see why Israel feels that way and still be empathetic towards what's happening in Gaza and not be like, oh, I'm a traitor, right? Like, I'm not, like, we become to a time where you have to choose a side, which is why, not to bring this up again, but like the reason why it was like Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. I was like, I never understood that because I don't know a Smurf. I've never met a Smurf in my life. So this Blue Lives Matter, you're still a person, right? You're still a person. And you're a person with a very complicated job. But at the same time, a lot of people in your job are killing black people. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we got to figure out the solution is in the middle. It's not on either side. And I feel like in the same thing is here. It's like, as I say, every time I'm going to put the caution on this, every time, even when we make the clips, I'm going to be intentional to say, I do not have enough information to answer this question or come up with a solution. But I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and a lot of this stuff makes me uncomfortable. And I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it. So,
speaking of uncomfortable,
okay, where you going with that
the
one?
next subject.
Oh, we moving off? No,
Yeah,
no
because I
final
don't
words?
want to spend too much.
Because
like you said, I don't have much information on it. I just think it's like terrible thing that's happening. But I'm very careful with how I'm.
Yeah, and
because this is a sensitive.
It's funny
topic.
because I had multiple conversations. Yeah, we can move on, but I had multiple conversations with that, and it's such a thing that also in this time period you can't voice your opinion and then also be wrong voicing your opinion.
Yeah.
It's like we no longer have a safe space to say, hey, I think this is a thing, and someone said, hey, hold on, stop. Do you know why this is a thing? And then you can say, okay, well, dang, maybe I'm wrong.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, if there was someone that has more insight into everything, we can actually have a
deeper conversation,
full conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
But with me not having that knowledge and us not having the people there, I just want to be cautious of how we're talking about it. So, yeah.
I just really want to create, like, maybe that's something we could address at some point, but I don't know. It's just right now I would like all of this to stop. Like, just stop. Let's sit down and figure out if there's a solution to this. It doesn't include killing a ton of people.
Yeah. Sure.
That's excuse me. That's my last thought on that. Yeah. And then to something lighter. So we spoke about this, I want to say a couple months ago. I don't remember which one it was. I want to say it was July maybe or June. But there was a episode where this woman, her name was Carly Russell, decided that she wanted to disappear herself. And had everyone looking for her for a while.
Yeah. And a baby.
And a baby on the side of the street. She created a whole wonderful hoax. She Jussie Smollett it. And she was found guilty. She was also found guilty of kidnapping, which is wild to me because...
Kidnapping herself?
That's what I don't understand. Like, let me pull up the charges here.
Said, oh, you want to be kidnapped? I'll give you... Okay, you can be kidnapped. Now you're going to be charged for it.
I find it very, very, very... But... honestly, I think that being charged with this stuff, not ever want to see anybody go to prison. Right. But I think that if you're going to do something stupid like this, you should feel the repercussions of it.
Well, she used a lot of resources. I understand that part. I don't understand what the goal was besides to be charged and go to jail. I mean, I don't know what type of goal she had in mind. I mean, or maybe she had a mental break, but I guess she didn't because they didn't give her that as bail. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know why this person did that. It sucks to put somebody in jail for that, but I do think
we don't know if she's going to jail.
We don't know.
We don't know if
she's just been charged.
She's been charged.
Okay. She's just been charged.
The case is supposed to the trial is supposed to start in I think March.
Okay, so she still could possibly just get like probation or something like that.
Here's the thing: you wasted everybody's time.
Yeah.
You created a story that literally you could have just gone, you could have hid and run away. We don't know the specifics. Hopefully, in the case, when the case happens, we'll find out more. But either way, I think if you're gonna do something stupid like that, you should feel the repercussions so that you know that other people know not to do dumb stuff. Just don't do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't do stuff.
I think
that sums it up.
That
perfectly.
cleans that one.
Yeah. Don't do dumb stuff.
Don't do dumb stuff. Like makes no sense.
Yeah. So in conclusion, which I do want to say for the record, if you have anything that matches the Black Excellence category, definitely drop us a link.
You want to? I think we have one more thing.
Did I miss something?
Mr. Howard.
Oh, I didn't know that was a real thing. I mean, I know I mentioned it, but like, do we want to talk about it?
Yo, all right, y'all.
Let's jump into it real quick.
I'm sorry, but it's not the part of the allegations that's with me that I care to talk about.
Well, give the backstory, because
all right. So Dwight Howard, if you didn't know, which this is breaking news.
I mean,
breaking news. I'm like, what camera I look at? I'm like, can I get? I don't even know if I can get over inside. But anyway, I'm like, yo, Dwight Howard has been accused of sexual assault against another man. Apparently, him and Dwight Howard were exchanging illicit. You know somebody type that one up.
They gotta make that sound nice.
Or maybe Ryder did that for like AI did that for him, but like illicit text, and they confirmed the meetup, and then Howard was like, hey, can I invite somebody else to indulge in our activities, right?
Hang out.
Hang out. I don't know how I want to say it.
You're going complicated for no reason. Hang out. Go ahead.
Hang out. And then the dude was like, nah, I'm kind of cool with that. And so he was at the house, and apparently one thing led to another, and Dwight Howard allegedly forced himself upon him, right? Okay. That's really none of our business, but...
Well, if he forced himself on top of him, that's messed up and should be treated the same way as any other allegation.
Right. So it should be treated as such, right? And so I was like, wow, didn't know that. But I say, I guess that part of it is bad, but the fact, because people are talking about, well, Dwight Howard is homosexual. That part is none of our business.
Yeah.
But the forcing yourself on someone is like, that's not right.
That's wild crazy.
But the one thing I wanted to say, because I was like, well, it's allegations. So we all know allegations, because even if it's a man or a woman, could be false, right?
Mm-hmm.
But someone having a conversation with my friend group, and they're like, hey, did you see the video? I'm like, video? What video? There's a video of Dwight Howard in a full suit having an interview on the basketball court during a game. And after the interview, the camera literally follows him, leaving the section he did the interview, go to the section where his teammates is at, standing over top of his teammate, looks down at his teammate, takes his hand and grabs that dude's balls as he sits down. The teammate was in a whole nother conversation. Saw Dwight Howard come over, didn't think nothing of it, kept having the conversation. Dwight Howard did the grabbing, and he jumped up and was like, oh, and then kept talking. If there's a video in 4K of you looks like assault to me.
It is assault, but when was this? When was the video from?
I
haven't seen the video.
I don't care.
Yeah. No, it sounds like assault to me. I mean,
and I'm like, that sounds like he went. Y'all have to watch the video. I'm sorry. He went like, you ever seen like in movies when they like target something with a missile?
Yes.
And it has that like target, and they're like, it's locked on. Okay. You can literally see when he locked on to the balls. Pause. And I'm like, because I always try to give people bail. Maybe his hand slipped right as he was sitting down, like, oops, grab a handful. But no, he that was target. And y'all can watch the video and comment below and let us know if MVP is tripping. But I'm like, well, I don't know what their relationship is.
Yeah.
But as a guy, if you did that to me, we would have been just fighting. So,
but then he didn't respond. The guy didn't respond. The guy
just kept talking in the conversation he was having. So I'm like, maybe I don't know if they have a thing, or maybe they used to like him, like, because some people can like, oh, he's just playing around, and maybe they're used to him playing around. But I'm like, it had me thinking maybe there's some truth to the allegations, because if he'll do that on national TV, after having an interview in a full suit, suited and booted, I don't know what he would do in the confines of his home with a person that he met off Instagram. I don't know.
Hey, man, live your truth. That's all I gotta say. Live your truth, but don't be abusive.
Don't be abusive.
Don't. I mean, I think that we've had enough time of where some of that stuff should be correcting itself. Like, you shouldn't be doing crazy stuff. So, I don't know. I actually forgot about that. I'm not gonna lie. As we were talking,
it just happened.
I forgot about it, but that's a weird way to transition to Black excellence.
Well, we couldn't do it afterwards, right? You can't say that after the Black.
Jeez.
But no, you know what? Maybe we can say, hey, there's some negative parts of that story, and now we're going to talk about some positive things.
There we go. That's a nice way to clean it up. Okay. I mean, I also wanted to say, like, we're working on trying to find more of these, because, like, I feel like the Black excellence doesn't get a lot of shine, and as a result, it's hard to find.
It actually is hard to find.
We literally look for stuff, and we're like, wow, and so I think we need to change our tactics, and we're gonna have a couple of different ones, but this one today we wanted to talk about. Somehow Diddy has been the undertone of a lot of these conversations, because we had the Carisha pleas, but not all out, but just one.
Yeah.
But Diddy donated $1 million to his alma mater of Howard University.
Whoop, whoop.
And that is a big deal. That's a big deal.
Shout out to my city, man. Yeah, so thank you, sir.
He didn't have to do it. I don't know. Like, you know what? The Diddy conversation came up. I think it was the last Wrapped, when he gave back the things.
Yes.
So we have been talking about Diddy kind of like on the low, but it's a good thing. I think he has really come to a point where he's trying to change his persona, his
image, or
his image. Yes, I was gonna say personal. I don't know why.
Persona.
His image, like, and a lot of stuff Diddy in the past. He got a lot of crap from Diddy, but
yeah,
I feel like he's trying to clean that up. So,
yeah, and I don't think he was in a situation where he had to do this either.
He didn't.
So I think that's pretty cool, especially when it's like, whoop whoop, Howard. Okay. So for me, I'm like, yo, I didn't know that was his old, like.
That's his cool, yeah. Man.
So like, more power to him. I think that's excellent.
He didn't have to do it. That's black. That's Black excellence. Like I said, we will do our job, especially going into next year, to try to find a better pipeline for some of these conversations. Which is what I was saying. If you have ideas of stuff that fit that category, and maybe it's a local business or something that we could talk about, like, and highlight some of the spaces and create that space for Black excellence to be brought to the forefront, then please let us know. Drop us a message, a DM on Instagram, send it in the comments, whatever. So,
we'll check it out.
On that note, this has been a very packed episode. I didn't think we would have been going so deep into some of these conversations, but as we always do, that's the thing. So if you made it this far, you are no, I changed it, right, didn't I? Yeah, if you made it this far, you are part of the in crowd, and we appreciate you so much. Definitely give us a like, follow, comment, please. We love the healthy discourse. And also, don't just hit us up directly. Feel free to leave it in the comments.
Need that engagement, baby.
Need the engagement. So, on that note, thank you. This has been Wrapped for October 2023.
Yes.
See y'all next time.